Jets Titans is days away, and we need to talk to an insider to get all the latest on the New York Jets opponent. Let's roll.
I'm going to lose my gosh darn bananas. Boy Green Daily starts now. Zoinks!
I made it clear that my intention was to play, and my intention was to play for the New York Jets.
You're fucking wrong!
What's going on, everybody? Paul Eston Jr., a.k.a. Boy Green. I'm the New York Jets digital reporter for Heavy.com. Welcome to Boy Green Daily, a daily New York Jets video show, also available wherever you find your podcast. I'm your handsome host, Paul Esden Jr., and we need to start looking ahead to the Tennessee Titans game coming up in week 2. And by the way, for all you dads out there, I'm a dad and going to be growing to a dad times 2 coming up in November. These 1 o'clock games on Sundays, where you could just kind of go through the modus operandi. You know what I mean? Where you go to the deli, grab a sandwich, get ready for your pregame festivities are going to be absolutely terrific. So I'm very much looking forward to going back to normalcy. There's going to be a lot of primetime games for the Jets, a lot of one-offs, the London game coming up in a couple of weeks. It's nice just to go back to, the other days of 1 o'clock on Sunday. Well, without further ado, let's bring in our Tennessee Titans guru. His name is Easton Freeze. He is the Tennessee Titans host and beat writer for A to Z Sports. Let's bring him on the show here, baby, to preview the Week 2 matchup. What's up, Easton?
How's it going, Paul? Good to hear from you this morning.
Yeah, it's great to see you, my friend. It's been a while. I love it when we can do this for all these Jets-Titans matchup, but I'm going to have to be honest, Easton, right off the top rope. Will Levis threw one of the worst interceptions I think I've ever seen in my life.
Did he? I missed that. Was that last week?
Yeah. You know, it might have got lost in the shuffle. I know there's a lot of plays there that could have happened. Let me ask you.
I went golfing. I turned the game off. If they had it wrapped up at halftime, wasn't worried about it.
Yeah, that's right. 17-0. I know nothing about the Jets blowing big lead, so I'm unfamiliar with that, obviously. But I'm curious. What's the confidence level of Will Levis when you do something like that and basically blow the game? I mean, I think it was tied at that point, and then the Bears take that lead, and the
they were leading. No, the Titans were still up by 1. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So
right.
What is the confidence level for Will Levis? He's a young quarterback. That can certainly, when you do something like that and hurt your team, that could certainly rock a guy.
Sure. And that really depends on the mental fortitude of the guy in question. The confidence level in Nashville today is significantly lower than it was a week ago. And, I don't know exactly how fair that is. I'm in a way, I feel kind of bad at my job this time of year because the more that I do this covering the NFL, the less willing I am to come to any conclusions until we get through like at least 3 or 4 games of the year. Mm-hmm. And I know that's the gig, right? Is to talk about things, overreact. That's half the fun of it. I get it. But just too many times I have seen and been burned on things that aren't real in week 1 and week 2 and week 3. And it's not to say that those weeks don't matter and that those wins don't count the same. They do, and they can make or break your season. But in terms of what your team is, in terms of what a guy is, especially when you're looking at a team that's so new with a brand new coaching staff, a young quarterback who's playing in a new offense, a ton of moving pieces on both sides of the ball. Too many times have I seen that, even when it's good on paper and it ultimately proves to be a good team, look really clunky and bad at first to write anything off from week 1 for the Titans. That being said, the genuine concern and what I think is fair for Will Levis is that we heard all offseason and we talked to him and his coaches all offseason about how this new scheme is going to lend itself to keeping him from making bad decisions. It's going to set him up for success. It's going to set him up to be safe with the football. And through the first half of that football game, that was what we were seeing was, this is pretty boring football. He's not putting the ball in harm's way. This is what this is as advertised. And then when things got a little hairy and the pressure turned up, you could see him kind of revert to his factory settings. You could see that I guess just technique reversion is the way to put it. A little bit with his footwork, a little bit with his drifting in the pocket, drifting into pressure, and then of course just the decision making, not seeing the field as clearly, kind of feeling like he's processing everything a half tick later than he probably should. Those things kind of reared their ugly head in the second half, and so I'm not making any sweeping conclusions on whether or not he can figure it out anytime soon. But in terms of a first data point, not great.
I appreciate the bluntness there. That is, that's interesting. Now, speaking of overreactions,
okay,
a Jets player might have provided bulletin board material for one Will Levis.
That's right.
We've got the footage. Let's go to the tape. Jermaine Johnson was asked for his thoughts on Will Levis.
What are your impressions of Will Levis?
He's a talented athlete and can throw the ball pretty well. But just watching film and just understanding some things about him, especially when he comes out, he's one of those guys that kind of, when things aren't going his way, he kind of can panic a little early, and just understanding how we can get him to that point as a defense and kind of how we can capitalize off of that. So just understanding how we're going to go throughout the week, understanding that what we can do on defense to make sure that we win this game.
Fact or fiction? Old Will Levis gets a little panicky, and they can feel it when things aren't going his way, and that's something the Jets defense believes they could capitalize on. Thoughts?
It's a funny quote. He was very polite about it, so you gotta appreciate that.
Sure.
It's hard to disagree too strongly with it, especially this week following what he put on tape in week 1. I don't know if it's really that unique to him when a young player is in their 10th NFL start,
right?
To be kind of panicky when things fall apart. But so, I will say, yeah, that is true. Not necessarily all that unique to him as a player in the phase of his career that he's in. But in terms of the Jets defense trying to game plan and figure out how they want to affect him, yeah, I would try to get him off his spot early and make him make poor decisions. I think panicky is really the wrong word. That's probably what I take most issue with. Again, it's less panic and more you get him, like I said, you get him to revert to his factory settings. You make him go full monkey brain and make poor decisions and not use his head. So it's less panic and more he gets dumb when things fall apart.
I love that. I've never heard someone use that term before, but now I feel like I have to use it in my life. Reverting back to factory settings. That is
right.
That's one I gotta write that one down. That's a goodie. But let me ask you this, Easton, because I'm not sure which of these things is the result, or maybe it's a mix of both, where it often is. Will Levis get sacked 3 times in the opener against the Bears. Bears. Okay.
That's right.
Is it Will Levis, young quarterback, puts his offensive line in terrible positions and they're on him? Or is it bad pass protection? What was the truth? What was the reason for the 3 sacks and the pressure rate?
Yeah, it was a little bit of both. Going back and watching the 22, kind of charting that out. In terms of the sacks, I'm trying to think about all 3 of them. At least one of them was on pass protection, and at least one of them was on Levis, and I can't remember the third one. And then the pressures were more on the line than on Levis, but he didn't help on a handful of those in terms of the way that he drifted, needing to step up a little bit into the pocket, not moving with the flow of the pocket, like those things that a quarterback can do to make life difficult for his pass protection. That being said, the Titans, very young offensive line, very new offensive line as well. And, much has been made about Bill Callahan and the impact that he's going to have.
A legend. Yeah.
A legend. And even he's a good coach. He's not a miracle worker. I don't think there's anybody that can come into any new offensive line room and overnight turn them into a good unit. It's just not, Paul, it's not the way that it works in the NFL. Right. It's, the offensive line position it's the crock pot of position groups. It's a slow cook meal. You got to give it a second. And so they'll get better. And I think that there's a lot of talent on this line. And, against these Jets, I'm curious to hear your thoughts on this because
Sure, please.
I was reading about some of the rotations that they had Monday night and how especially the depth gets a little bit hairy on the defensive line. And so I can't decide whether or not I think it will be a more difficult or less difficult task for them trying to protect Levis against this Jets team right now, especially missing somebody that refuses to sign who could certainly change the math up front.
That it would. Yeah, it really depends, excuse me, on your perspective. For instance, when you really analyze the Jets defensive line and their origin stories, you have Takk McKinley's this former first rounder who busted out, and he's just been floating in the ethos. And the Jets just plucked that tree, not that fruit off the tree, but it wasn't on the tree. It had been laying on the ground for a while. You're like, hey, what is this?
Rotting for a little bit.
Yeah, 100% is like, is this still good? I'm just gonna take a bite. So that's Takk McKinley. It's been an awesome story, quite frankly, of just grabbing that what appeared to be a rotting fruit. Then all of a sudden, whoa, okay, makes a Jets defensive line room that appeared very difficult to make at the outset, but then you have 3 undrafted free agents make it. And you're like, oh, is it as good as we think? Are these undrafted free agents better than we think? So again, it's a lot of perception on the back half there. Plus, Jermaine Johnson, the guy who was just dunking on Will Levis in the most polite way possible. I got slapped in the face and said thank you to Jermaine Johnson after that insult. But he had a terrible game against the 49ers. But normally he's really good. Quinnen Williams, who according to the advanced analytics did not have a good game. Quinnen Williams, he's a really
fantastic
talented guy.
Player. Right.
Yeah, 100%. I love Quinnen. And then obviously you guys have your own and Jeffrey Simmons, who's terrific, who doesn't get enough love. Maybe it's a Tennessee Titans thing. I don't know. That's probably it.
Usually is. Yeah.
Yeah. So it just so again, you probably wanted a more straight answer, but it just depends on perspective because I can tell you all these wonderful things about these undrafted free agents and you're going to be like, so they were undrafted free agents. And I'm right. Yes.
Yeah,
Takk McKinley. He's this is his 3rd, 4th, 5th stop. Well, yes, that's true. Jermaine Johnson fell all the way to the back end of the first round. Thank you for that. If I remember correctly, that was a Jets Titans trade at the back end of that first round a couple years ago.
Well have been, yeah.
Yeah, that opened the door for the Jets to jump back in the back end of the first round and get their guy that they believed in. So, and Will McDonald, some we haven't mentioned at all, former first round draft choice, 15th overall. And now with no Hassan Reddick, we're like, so Will Reddick, are you going to play superhero? Are you going to put on the cape man or what? So there's expectations that are thrown all over the place. So it'll be an interesting, the Jets got punched in the face, obviously in prime time for everybody. And Robert Saleh told us, it's not the first time we've been punched in the face, so we're going to respond. And he said, to use the verbatim immediately after the game, we're going to get that shit fixed. And we're like, oh, okay. All right, coach, I guess we'll see. So we're curious to see if that response happens potentially coming up here for the week 2 game, which I'm kind of curious about. So on Bill Callahan, going back to him real quick, was there an expectation that let me rephrase it. Is there fingerprints there that, Bill Callahan has been coaching this group for the last couple of months, or it still hasn't shown its flowers? It's a long season and we're probably not realistically going to see that till later.
No, there are signs. It's just a matter of it coming together. And like you said, that probably will take some time, but yeah, throughout the preseason, we saw a number of things that were really positive. JC Latham is a project in the sense that you're moving him to the opposite side of the line. He's a player that, for all of his strengths, there are some inherent weaknesses to the way that he is just built frame wise to play. And he's a crazy athlete, so the theory is he can overcome those things. But you saw on Sunday a couple of times edge rushers for the Bears would line up pretty wide against a shotgun look, and it would force him to over or under set. He'd get a little bit stuck in the mud. These are things that he's going to have to overcome, and he's working with Bill Callahan to do that. And we've already seen progress from him on that front in practice and in preseason games and all of this stuff. And the most, I guess, the most direct thing you could point to is the Titans' run game already kind of starting strong. Again, everything kind of fell apart in the second half of that week 1 football game. But in the first half, you had Tony Pollard looking like he had his swag back. A big part of that was some really successful blocking The blocking scheme, Bill Callahan, his bread and butter is the run game. It's part of it. Probably is the reason why he is the legend that he is. And so that looked good on tape, and those guys were in phase. They were on the same page. So it's that kind of thing that you're already seeing tangible evidence of, not just the offensive line being good or being better, but the coaching impacting the way that they're playing.
Again, we're speaking with Easton Gashdarn Freeze, baby. One of the best in the business. Thank you to the Freeze parents for having a child. Terrific. Our Tennessee Titans host and
Shout
beat
out
reporter.
Mom and Dad.
Yeah, there we go. God bless, baby. There you go. A to Z Sports. Wouldn't be here without him. I'm curious that on the Tony Pollard thing, he did look like pre-broken leg Tony Pollard. And the other interesting thing is the Tennessee Titans didn't seem scared. They gave him what appeared to be, I don't know the finer point guarantee numbers, but off the top, it seemed like they gave him a really nice contract. And when you look at the numbers, you're like, whatever for Pollard last year. But if you look at the advanced metrics, you're like, oh, as he got further away from broken leg, okay, all of a sudden those numbers start to look a lot more appealing. And again, I saw those flash week one. I'm like, is that Tony? My dad's a diehard Dallas Cowboys fan, so I watch like every Cowboys game that isn't on at the same time as the Jets. So I was quite familiar with Pollard, running back, receiver, do it all, man. But it seemed like the Titans really wanted this guy. I remember it being one of the first signings of free agency.
It was on that first or second day of free agency, and they did give him a nice contract. Yeah, I think people got a little bit. I think they lost perspective on Pollard last year because he broke his leg in the calendar year 2023, right. And then the expectations for him in 2023 were that this guy's going to be the bell cow. Zeke's out of the way. Like let's get the party started. I think he's a classic year after the year guy, and I think Tennessee kind of bet on that when they went and signed him. And so far, again, it's just 1 week. He looks like he's got that swag back. He's got that juice back that was so appealing for him before the injury. So I'm excited to watch him play this year. And I think that him and Tajay Spears make a really nasty tandem that is going to be, for whatever else the offense ends up looking like. I think the two of them are going to have a successful year as runners.
Let me ask you, Titans fans, coaches, media, everybody, after watching the Monday Night Football debacle, did they lick their chops, go, I think I know the game plan, run the gosh darn ball down the Jets' throat? Is it that simple?
I think that's what they'll start with. Yeah, so let's start there. Let's try that first.
Yeah.
Let's make them prove that they have figured it out, or that the Niners are just so gosh darn good that you can't really base your game plan based on what works for them. But yeah, I think so. And we know from the coaches saying so that that's the way that they are wanting to operate early in the season anyways. We want to build off the very, classic coach. We want to build off the run. Let's establish the run. We feel like this offensive line in their progression is further along as a running group than a pass protecting group. So let's lean on that. We've got two young backs who are fresh here at the beginning of the season. Let's lean on that. And, if you're running the ball well, it sets your quarterback up for success. So let's do that for our guy. I think that the first half of this game will probably look a lot like what the first half of the Chicago game looked like, running the ball a heavy amount. First Titans scoring drive may look like the first Titans scoring drive of week one, where it's very few times the ball is in the hands of Will Levis and they're just pounding the rock with Pollard and Spears. And they break a couple off. And frankly, based on what the Jets showed, like you said, I don't know why you wouldn't go to that first.
Teams would be crazy to be not to try, dip their toe in the water, see if the water feels nice, and see if they can do it. Because if they do the same thing, then teams would be crazy to say, you know what? I think we're going to try to pass all over the Jets. Screw the run. That's for losers.
Well, that's the other thing is the Jets defense, that secondary, pretty good. Not exactly a team you are looking forward to pass on. So even further incentive to run the ball.
Of course. And speaking of the receiving game, I'm kind of curious. I'll just ask bluntly, how healthy is DeAndre Hopkins? 1 catch, 8 yards. What the flying hoot in the week 1 opener against the Bears?
Yeah, so we over at A to Z, we talked to a real doctor, of which I am not, but we talked to one of those guys. Right. And we did that on Tuesday, and it was a really interesting interview about what an MCL injury entails and how a sprain is technically a tear no matter what the grade, and what grade he likely has. Long story short, he likely has a severe grade 2 or a grade 3 sprain, which is a almost or complete tear of the MCL. But something I didn't know,
Yeah, me
MCLs,
either.
unlike rope ligaments like the ACL, where if you tear it, you're done. You got to get that surgically fixed. It's a big, broad, flat ligament, the MCL. And so it outside of one specific type of MCL injury, which is rare and Hopkins does not have, it will heal itself almost all of the time. And so that I didn't know that. But that's what he has spent the last 6 or so weeks now, mostly taking time off from practice and healing up from. We know that he came back to practice last week to get ready for week 1. His coaches told us they were kind of protecting him from himself a little bit in week 1. Like you said, 15 or 16 snaps total, 1 catch for 7 yards. Very much a shake the rust off. Let's not get crazy and force you back in too early. You're a big part of this offense, and you're kind of the safety blanket for our quarterback. You know, you guys have an established rapport. Not much else on this offense is established with Will Levis yet. So we want you around. I think, you know, they told us yesterday, Brian Callahan said that Hopkins should look a lot closer to 100% this week, which is some fine coach speak, because anything better than what he did is in fact closer to 100%. It's not close, but it's closer. I'm a little bit skeptical as to whether or not he is close to 100% quite yet. I think this first month will be a gradual ramp up period. He'll probably do more. I'd bet you he's out there for 25, 30 plays. But I think it'll probably be closer to half of the offense than the full offense that he's out there for. And, we had the first injury report come out yesterday. He's not on there. So we'll get a chance maybe to see him at practice a couple more times this week and glean what we can from the individual period. But I think expectations from Titans fans for him should be patience for a couple of weeks.
There you go. The latest update from Dr. Freeze joining us here on the program. Speaking of wide, I have to. How did I not start with this? I must say, speaking of wide receivers, thank you for taking Calvin Ridley away from the New England Patriots. Those bastards. I laughed a good jolly laugh when I saw it. Or Jacksonville, whoever. I mean, you took him from apparently a lot of people, but I saw that. I was like, second Patriots. So Calvin Ridley. So first off, thank you. Jet fans appreciate it.
Sure,
and
absolutely.
Then, And number 2, how has Calvin Ridley been? That was quite a bag Tennessee delivered to take him from both a division rival for you and a division rival from us.
Yeah, no kidding. A big contract. And I think that, throughout August, he impressed me. In practice, he is as advertised, and he is that dynamic player. He was the leading receiver for the Titans in week 1. There were a couple opportunities for him to have a lot more yards in his stat sheet that they just couldn't connect. The biggest thing, I'm not concerned about the talent of Ridley at all. It's just about him and Levis getting on the same page. And he's a unique receiver in the sense that, so this has been a storyline throughout August. When he's running deep and fast, the timing is different for him than other receivers because he's so fast.
Sure.
And so Levis, just trying to get that ball timed up with him and get on the same page, has been a very up and down situation. And there were a couple of times at the end of that Chicago game where he ran the wrong route and him and Levis were on the same page. They're going to get that ironed out. But in terms of his talent level, in terms of the guy that he is, the impact on the game that he is, yeah, he's the real deal. He's a caliber receiver that's going to demand, the Sauce Gardner treatment absolutely in this game. And if he doesn't, then he's going to be somebody that gets his. So I've been impressed, and I'm just looking forward to him and Levis clicking.
I imagine you guys are, and so are a lot of Tennessee Titans fans, for that matter. But actually, Doctor, let's go back to the defense. There's a guy that I love. I when you guys got him in the draft, I was like, oh, he's going to be a freak. And that was Harold Landry. I love that pick when you guys took him. And I'm just curious. He gets the bag. He's a really talented guy, but also he gets hurt. And I'm curious if he's still the same player that he was pre-injury.
I think that he is. Now we could debate as to whether that what that player was and is. Mm-hmm. I think that he's obviously a starting edge in the league, and he's probably a top half of the league starting edge. But people have long debated whether or not Harold Landry is really a singularly talented player in the way that other star edge players are. A lot of his numbers, the advanced metrics, it's a little bit cleanup artist-y. I lean more on the side of he's just really talented and people need to relax, but I kind of get the argument. The thing about this year is that he's operating kind of alone. The Titans edge group may be the thinnest group on their entire team. In fact, I will say that it is the thinnest group on their entire team. It's Harold Landry and then Arden Key, who I think has pretty strongly proven himself, to me at least, to be better as a rotational third guy than as your opposite starter. And then Jalen Harrell was a 7th round rookie this year who is kind of in that same boat as your defensive lineman discussion, where really impressive. I think the sky's the limit for this guy, but he was a 7th round pick in the spring. So, you have to be patient with that kind of thing. So, yeah. But in terms of Landry, I think that he is that guy. You saw him get an impressive sack on a stunt in the first week. And it's just, he's leaning heavily on the interior push of Simmons and Sweat, because in terms of opposite edge help, he's not getting a ton, and teams are going to be giving him the bulk of the resistance throughout the season.
All right, let me get to a few more, and then we'll open up the phone lines here in a second. Another splash. Apparently, Tennessee Titans, they're just wearing the scuba gear. They're diving into the deep end of the pool all offseason with sexy headlines and splashes. L'Jarius Sneed, that was an eyebrow raiser.
Splash.
Whoa, baby. Yeah, I was like, okay. And Jet fans know the Garrett Wilson L'Jarius Sneed matchup last year. Like, it was it was interesting. It was competitive.
Mm-hmm.
It was like, whoa, okay, that was one we had to circle before the game. Get that splash. As L'Jarius Sneed, again, it's been very, very small sample size. Obviously, we only have one game in the books, but I imagine that's still a matchup that once again switch the team, but it's the same situation of L'Jarius Sneed versus Garrett Wilson. Seems like a big thing to watch for Sunday as well.
Yeah, Sneed's the dude. In terms of players I am least concerned or least skeptical about on the team, Sneed is very, very high on the list. Whatever concerns or skepticism I may have had watching the 22 from week 1, that washed all of that away. He can run with anybody. He is physical to no end. He's in the hip pocket of every type of receiver he's going up against, whether they're bigger than him or technically faster than him. He looks awesome. So I think that matchup between him and Garrett Wilson is going to be key. The interesting thing for me is that just looking at how the Titans operated in that game against the Bears, whether or not they shadowed with their cornerbacks, they did some, but not a ton. Mm-hmm. In the past in Kansas City, Sneed was one of the heaviest shadow rate guys in the league. I think he was in the past 2 seasons, the cornerback who did the most against one player 65+% of their snaps in a game. So a player you want to put on the opposite team's best guy. The Bears have a good receiving group, so I guess it makes sense to not shadow one guy in particular. But against this Jets team, frankly, there's one guy you feel like you need to shadow, and that's Garrett Wilson, and he's fantastic. And so I'm very curious to see and hoping to actually later today go pry some of that information out of the Titans. We'll see if I'm successful or not. Whether or not they're going to shadow, and it seems like it would be a fool's errand not to have Sneed trying to eliminate Garrett Wilson from that competition.
Let me get excuse me, one more in here before we open it up to the fans, and that is now pinned on the top of YouTube, everybody. We got a couple hundred people in here. We appreciate you guys. Like the video, hit subscribe, but you guys can call in, and I'll get to a lot of your callers in a second while Veach didn't answer a couple of your questions before he gets out of here. I'm curious, the Jets' plan against the 49ers seemed obvious with Aaron Rodgers obviously coming off the torn Achilles last year. It seemed like they really wanted to work him into the game and lean on the running game and try to pound that Brutus beefcake and just say, okay, baby, we'll try to protect Aaron Rodgers a little bit. And maybe as we go through the season, the reins will be loose and they could do whatever the hell he wants. But the Jets did not have great success. The offensive line looked great in pass protection. Blessed be he after what happened last year. But the run blocking was god-awful. And I'm curious, how is the Titans' run defense as we're heading into this game? And are they thinking, oh, wow, after that kind of performance, maybe we could get some business done, despite facing a very talented rusher in Breece Hall?
Yeah, the run defense looked good. And, I mentioned Jeffrey Simmons and rookie Tavondre Sweat up front. Both look fantastic. And as advertised, running between the tackles will be difficult against those guys. I don't think you'll be super successful, to be honest with you. Running to the edge, maybe a different story. Certainly a thing you can do. I came into this year, and many of us came into this year, pretty skeptical about the Titans linebacker room and really just the whole spine of this defense. Linebackers, safeties, what's that going to look like? And in week one, this Denard Wilson defense has these linebackers playing in a just super aggressive, pretty singular read and react, not a lot of thinking. Let's get downhill in a hurry, boys style of play. And they did really well. Like these linebackers, for all of their faults, they are not coverage players, any of them. But they are capable of getting up and down field. There's a couple of guys on this team where we'll go through on the show that I was on last year, a kind of a midweek bit where we would grade guys, like tier guys. And with some of these linebackers, we would split them up into X-axis players and Y-axis players. And man, getting up and down on the Y-axis, we put them up here, but as X-axis, sideline to sideline, they're down here. And so, but in this Denard Wilson defense, he's not really asking them to do that. And so in the run game in particular, they're plugging holes like their hair's on fire. I was really impressed by the way that they run fit against the Bears. I don't know whether or not, because the Bears, their offensive line kind of sketchy. They've got good runners, not great runners, not at the caliber of Breece Hall, in my opinion. But with the Jets, also a new offensive line, also still figuring things out. And so I don't really know. I think it'll be a more difficult test than week one for the Titans defensive line, but I do think the run defense is a strength of theirs. And like you saw with the Jets on Monday night, their game plan was to run the ball, very not successful in that manner. So when they weren't, their backup plan was Aaron save us, it kind of seemed. And so he may be able to do that against this Titans team, but Titan secondary is strong, and he wants to get the ball out fast. So I'm really curious to see how that dynamic plays out.
Yeah, it will be very interesting. Again, the phone lines are open. That is the pinned comment on YouTube, youtube.com/BoyGreen25, baby. So let's go right to him. We got EZ on the move. What's up, EZ? Oh, boy.
Look alive, EZ.
Yeah, we had this problem yesterday. EZ, can you hear us? Yeah, I'm seeing you. Yeah,
there we go.
Good morning. There we go.
I got a little setup I can throw into my spring with. Yeah.
EZ, can you hear us? You're sounding a little choppy there.
I can hear you fine.
Okay, go ahead.
I switched the phone in my steering wheel so you get to see my lovely face.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that effort.
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah, excellent. Okay, go ahead. Ask your question, sir.
It's a bit of a delay because I've got the headset on, so forget it.
That's okay.
I wanted to make a brief statement about the San Francisco game, and then I'll be done with San Francisco. I think once they realized the game was getting away from them, they just went totally vanilla because it's an out-of-conference game. At that point, they thought they were going to lose. Why show anybody in the AFC anything that we have to offer? Kind of a defeatist attitude. That's my guess.
Okay. Sorry, EC, we're getting you on a big delay, so I'm trying not to interrupt you because, it seems like there's a big janky difference. So no, go ahead.
Said, they need to.
Right. Yeah, EC, if you're going to hear this in 30 seconds, it's like a time travel. Go ahead, and whenever you hear this.
I just think the Jets didn't want to show anything to the AFC.
Okay, I'm just going to put you on mute real quick, EC. It's okay. So you're going to hear this in 20 seconds. When you hear it, go ahead and you can ask your Titans question. I know it's going to come in a second. Now I'm unmuting you, okay? Go ahead. Go.
I think that the Titans are going to lose this game because Will Levis is so novice that he's not going to be able to.
Wow. Okay.
Noted.
Is that in the form of a question or was that like a statement? Okay, I guess that's it from EC. Okay.
Hey, thanks. Appreciate your call, Easy.
Yeah, right. An E to E guy. What were your thoughts? Will Levis, novice. That just for that reason alone.
Yeah, I'm shocked that Jets fans think they're going to win this game. So that's
what's the
really...
Titans fan? I'll be curious. So carrying it off
Sure.
of EZ's thing, are Titan fans like, oh yeah, we're about to smack the Jets, or what are Titan fans thinking? That's a kind of a curiosity of mine.
No, it's certainly not we're going to smack the Jets. I think that they came away from Monday night watching that game with great anticipation, trying to figure out, one, does Aaron Rodgers survive? Two, what did the Jets look like? And I think that the consensus that I gleaned was, okay, week 2 is a winnable game. I think that it'll be a relatively close matchup. You're getting to play at home. That helps. I do. I mean, I don't. The line, I think it was open 4. Bettors kind of doing the gross thing, came in on the Titans early, moved it down to 3.5.
Mm-hmm.
I do think it'll be a close game. The way that it won't be is if Will Levis and the Titans turn the ball over a couple of times. That's the funny thing is I tell people all the time, like 9 out of 10 games in the history of the NFL can be summed up by who turned the ball over more. Like turnovers do in fact win and lose football games.
Yeah.
But as long as the turnover margin is within 0 or 1, I'd say that this game is pretty close and they look like relatively evenly matched teams. Now, Jets fans probably take issue with that because they have Super Bowl aspirations. Titans fans, not so much. But this is week 2, right? So I think the context matters where the Jets are the kind of team, you look at those Brady Bucks from 2020 where they were 7-7, kind of scratching and clawing to their bye week. And then they come out of the bye and they don't lose another game on the way to the Super Bowl. If the Jets are a Super Bowl contender, at least to me, that's kind of the path for them is, just tread water for a couple months as you figure it out and then hit your stride and get hot at the end of the year. And so for the Titans, I think week 2 is probably a pretty good time to catch this Jets team because they're still trying to figure out a lot of things.
First off, I laughed. Jared B., the game will be over by the time he hears it. That is funny. Sorry.
It's like talking to somebody on Mars. Is like, what I mean? Waiting
There's
for it to
wow, that's a
back.
big ass gap, that's for sure. And my second thing is, Easton, are you a fan of the Rich Eisen show at all? Do you watch the Rich Eisen show?
Absolutely. I met Rich Eisen once at the Combine. The nicest guy.
Yeah,
and I said, I love your show. I've been watching it since I was young. And he said, don't tell me that. It makes me feel old.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Yeah, Rich Eisen's the greatest. So, okay, you will already know what I'm going to say, but I don't know if all of my listeners and viewers right now who are watching live appreciate you, the 500 people that are in the room right now. But on the Rich Eisen show, for those who don't know, they play the win-loss game and I did it for the Jets. I called it. That was a fun little thing. And people go through. And Rich Eisen's running joke is that despite, whoever it was, Bears fans, Jet fans, East fans, anyone that played the Titans gave this the Jets are smacking the Titans, obviously. Right. There's a win. There's a win. There's a win. There's a win. And he said it's like so running that no matter who you were, like any team in the NFL said, obviously that's, and he's like, wow, they're he called
Commanders fans, Patriots fans.
Exactly. Right. And you're like, Jesus. And he called them like his sleeper AFC team. I'm curious, what were expectations for Titan fans heading into the season, win-loss wise? Where do they see them? So you said obviously not Super Bowl contender. Okay. Not swimming where Jet fans have been swimming. Then where were they swimming?
They're swimming in. The expectations are Will Levis proves whether or not he's the guy. Like that's it's an exploratory season in that way. And then if he is, you have one of those, not worst to first, but worst to contender style jumps that you see when a team has a young quarterback and they pop like that. And suddenly you go from nobody really cares about you to, oh, wow, these guys, they snuck into the playoffs. How about that? So I think playoff berth was the hope and expectation for Titans fans. And it's like the Jets. I think that the reasonable take there is they kind of swim around in it and then they get hot and they win 6 or 7 to finish the year because they start to click. And it's like the Texans or the Packers last year where you think back to September and October, we weren't talking a ton about either of those teams. It was like a cute thing, like, well, wow, they won some games, looking good, whatever. And then they become genuinely terrifying in December. That's the hope for Tennessee Titans fans it's kind of a momentum year into the future.
All right, let's get to another call. Hopefully the delay is a little less. NY Jets FL here on the show.
Good morning, gentlemen.
There we
Yeah, that was quick. That's
we
good.
like
You
that.
got a good 40 time. I didn't have my stopwatch out, but that was pretty good in White Jets FL. Very nice.
All right, good. If my memory recalls, I think Caleb Williams had 93 yards passing. I don't
There
think
wasn't many.
we're gonna be Jet. Oh, hold on, call. The Jets should. That could be Bobby. The Jets should be at least a touchdown favorite. I don't care how ugly the defense looked. You're facing Aaron Rodgers now. Aaron Rodgers was in bubble wrap the first week. They wanted to get him through the first game healthy, the offensive line healthy. Mike Williams was coming off an ACL. So I really think we're going to have a real offense this week as opposed to run, pass, and feed Brees because we have to. So I think we win by double digits.
Jeez,
Really.
Okay. Wow.
That's what I think. The defense cannot be this bad. There's no way in hell. And I don't think Will Levis can be that bad either. But you look at the quarterback level, right? Look at the quarterback level. We faced Purdy, and we had this discussion yesterday, Paul.
Yes.
I think Purdy is close to an elite quarterback at this point. How can you say no? Now you go into Will Levis, and then you're talking about a championship defense. So I'll go with that one, and I'll let you guys rebut if you'd like.
Okay, interesting. NY Jets FL. Thank you very much. I would say.
By the way, the funniest part of that Monday night game was when they take Rodgers out and they're still just pounding Brees into the back of the line. What was that about? What are we doing? Why is he still in the game?
Yeah, and Garrett Wilson was in a couple of plays.
Right.
I'm
It's like let's protect the quarterback. Let's phone it in. Hey, but let's still murder our best offensive weapon. Yeah,
that seemed odd. Yeah, no, that was like kind of like if you're just calling off the dogs, like I understand. Okay, then all the dogs.
Let's get all the dogs out of there.
Some of the dogs. That part was somewhat confusing. And Easton, from a Vegas perspective, we do a lot of picks against the spread at my radio station for all of them. From what I understand, a home field advantage in most situations is supposed to give the home team about 3 points. They're supposed to be where they're a 3-point favorite at home.
Right.
So for the Jets to be in right now, where it started at like 4.5, and now it's the latest line I saw was 3.5.
Mm-hmm.
Like for it to be. They should be at least a touchdown favorite. That would mean Vegas is like starting the game with the Jets up 10-0. Like, I don't know. That seems kind of aggressive. What say you, Easton?
Yeah, it is aggressive. I respectfully, obviously disagree. And like I said, it's about it's very respectfully. It's all about the point in the season. Some of the points made by the caller about how Rodgers was in bubble wrap week 1, Mike Williams coming off of an ACL. That was, that was 6 days ago, or will be 6 days ago when they play the game. Do we think that's magically going to change in 1 week? I really am skeptical. First of all, Mike Williams, I don't know what Jets fans' expectations are for him. But yeah, I don't think anybody in the Titans building is all that worried about Mike Williams this week, to be 100% honest with you. Especially not yet. Talk about a guy coming off an ACL. If they looked bad because of the ACL in week 1, they're going to look bad because of the ACL in week 2. Let's talk about week 10. Maybe let's be a little bit more realistic in that way. And then with Rodgers, I mean, I agree that they were bubble wrapping him. It was very much let's not die immediately this time, which fair. But I don't think it's reasonable to think that it's just going to be, let's let Rodgers go crazy in this game. And less than letting him do anything. This is Aaron Rodgers talking about. He does what he wants.
Yeah.
I question, we saw Kirk Cousins and him coming off of Achilles injuries. I haven't watched all of it, but I've gotten around to some of the 22 on the Jets game. Mm-hmm. And he still looks like he's having a hard time navigating the pocket when things start to fall apart. The movement just isn't, he's old. He's coming off an Achilles. It's not unreasonable for this to be the case, but it does seem to be the case to me, at least, that his movement isn't quite what it was. And maybe more important than that, one of the things that made Rodgers a legend for the last 2 decades is that out of structure, he's athletic enough to evade the pressure, reset, plant, and throw downfield. His ability to reset, at least in that first game, and maybe it probably is just rust, to be honest with you, but his ability to reset and get the ball accurately downfield and on time out of structure, left a lot to be desired in that game. Now, I thought he had a pretty good game top to bottom. I think that the narrative coming out of the game is like, "Ooh, Rodgers looks bad." I don't agree with that. Actually, I think that if you break down the tape, he looks better than it came across on the broadcast. But there's still absolutely, his time to throw, third fastest of the week. He's always been a guy to get the ball out quickly, but that he's leaning on that heavily right now because he does not want to get touched back there, and he does not want to have to move ideally back there. So the Titans pass rush is going to be a really important element of that. And like we talked about, the interior pass rush for them is their strength right now. And, in the NFL, when you're able to collapse the puck from the inside, it is maybe harder to do that. But when you're able to do that, it's honestly more advantageous than when you're able to get around the edge.
100%. I heard Brian Callahan, Tennessee Titans head coach, actually talk about that interior pressure. It's in your face, and you're like, oh, like naturally, if you're getting bending stuff around, you could kind of, orchestrate yourself around and get out. Yep. 100%. There are paths to go. When Quinnen, as a random example from a Jets perspective, oh, Jesus. And then you're like, jeez.
Which edge defender's lap do I want to run into? Yeah, that's
right,
kind of
exactly.
That's
and then you're collecting those sacks like a filter in a grate on a sink, and you're just like, oh, sack. It's kind of interesting. Easton, I wish we had more time. It was great to chat with you, my friend. And again, follow at Easton Freeze. I want to see if Detective Freeze and Dr. Freeze, you have so many roles.
Many personas.
That's right. I'm curious about the luxurious Sneed Shadow Garrett Wilson thing. So follow Easton Freeze on X and Twitter and follow me. I love getting ready for the opponent and seeing all the conversations, articles, and all the wonderful content you're putting out, Easton. So thanks for chiming in, brother, and good luck the rest of the season as well.
Absolutely, Paul. It's always a pleasure. You're the man, and good luck to you and your Jets this season. Looking forward to the game.
I appreciate it. Thanks, pal. Have a great day.
You too.
All right, there he is, Easton Freeze. We'll stay on, answer a few more of your questions and calls and things of that nature, but shout out to Easton for coming on the show. And I'm very curious, like a Titans perspective, they seem, I don't want to say overly confident, but there was some real there, which I really appreciate about Easton, is he calls it down the line. So he told us where he believes there's some Titan issues and problems, but also on the other side of where he believes the Titans are going to expose the Jets. For instance, one thing that stood out to me, and I brought it up to him, here's the tweet. This is from Easton Freeze. Quote, the Jets weren't effective running the ball in week 1. 19 attempts for 68 yards, only 3.6 yards per attempt. On early downs in the first 3 quarters, non-garbage time heavy trailing, even worse. 13 attempts for 31 yards, just 2.4 yards per carry. He's referencing the Jets, came in wanting to run the ball, but it turned into a lot of leaning on Rodgers to save them on third down. The Titans' run defense should be able to make the Jets a bit one-dimensional in this way, end quote. And I'm curious, we're talking about bulletin board material Jermaine Johnson provided Tennessee. That seems like plenty of bulletin board material for Breece Hall, like going, oh, okay, you think you could contain this? You think you could do this? I'll be kind of curious how some of that operates. All right, let's jump back over to the phone lines. Again, the phone lines are open. We have 500-plus people in the room, and you can also join the Boy Green Coffee Club, baby. Down in the YouTube description, we also have it on the little money sign. If you're watching on YouTube, you can gift a membership. It's a final option there as well. We are, let me put the banner back up here for old Terrence in Cabo. We are 24 members away from Terrence getting his next emoji, so feel free to keep that coming, baby. All right, let's jump over to the phone lines. We got Tim from Fishland here on the show. What's up, Tim?
What's up, Paul?
What's going on, man?
Hard Monday night, my man. Hard Monday night.
That was tough. There was a bitter pill. I know that Easton said some of the outside perspective was Rodgers had a bad game. I didn't see that at all, man. I felt really on Aaron Rodgers.
No, they got punched in the mouth. They do exactly what I do to people on Madden. That's what the 49ers do. Swear to God, no, I'm serious. That's how I play my game. I'm gonna run the ball down your throat, and I'm gonna time of possession. And just, you know what I mean? You better pray I don't get the ball at the end of the fourth quarter.
Yeah, that's right. You're not getting it back. Have you ever had that kind of time of possession where you had 42 minutes of control to
No, well, you can't. You can't because there's only 4 or 5 minute quarters on line rank.
That's true. Yeah, that's a good.
You know what I mean? But it's you can't. The Jets have to go back to the fundamentals of football after watching that game. All right. Yeah. Ever since Salah's been the coach, they've had a big problem with gap scheme runs. Mm-hmm. Okay. Big problem. They get gashed with counters, powers, all that type of stuff. So you got to stop the run. You got to walk before you can run. Okay. I don't care about stopping the pass, especially against Bill Callahan. Okay. He's going to look at that tape and he's going to be like, oh, okay, let's just, Let's run the ball down their throat. Let's manage Levi's. But they got to stop the run first. And the offensive line played great pass protection, but I want to see them run block. I want to see them getting up, the guards getting up on the second level on the linebackers for Brees. Brees can't run the ball. He's a damn good running back, but he can't run the ball when they're not winning at the line of scrimmage and getting up on the second level of the linebackers. It's not going to work. All right. And that's the biggest thing with the Jets right now is, in my opinion, with Rodgers, is you don't want a 40-year-old quarterback dropping back 40 times a game to throw the ball.
Right,
because
definitely
run
not.
The ball.
Of course. Yeah.
Okay, it's got to be complementary football, and we have to get to that in order if we want to go where we're going to go. Now, do I think that we'll get better? Yeah, and I think that Rodgers is a good enough leader to get us there. But we'll see what happens. Who do you got tonight?
Boy, I've not gone back and forth. I hate to say what I'm going to say. I wish I was wrong. I have Buffalo tonight, man. They've won. What is it? 10 of 11 in a row. Let me see. I have the actual numbers here. I had it a second ago.
Yeah, what happened last time? Last time they lost in Miami, what time of year was it?
The last time they lost in Miami, it was
in the middle of September.
Yeah, right. There was the hot ass
storm.
Game. Yeah, right.
During a tropical storm, which is going on right now as we speak, the whole state is literally covered in tropical moisture. It's like 90% humidity. I don't care if it's a night game or not. Them boys from Buffalo are going to be sucking wind at the end in that fourth quarter. If the Dolphins play this game right, if they get up on them in the fourth quarter, they just start running the ball. You're going to see Bills players start dropping like flies. IVs, cramps.
Let's see. So the Bills have lost to the Dolphins only 2 times since December 18th of 2017. So they've won every other game. So they've been kicking their ass. But I think you're right. When you look at the commonality of that crazy-ass game, it ended at the end. Josh Allen was super pissed. They lose by 2. That was at the end of September. It was a bizarre game for people who want to go back and look at that. But it was hot as hell, and there was a lot of Bills players that were having heat exhaustion.
That's why every year when the schedule comes out, I always look at the Miami game because I always say, if the Miami game's in September, I'm not going. It's too goddamn hot down here.
You're taking Miami tonight?
Yeah, I'm taking Miami tonight.
Okay, all right. I hope you're right. I prefer a Miami win than a
There's a good bet on Hard Rock right now. It's a parlay prop bet. What is it? Tyreek Hill and Josh Allen plus 1.5 touchdowns. I think it's plus 22.50 right now.
Interesting. All right. I'll keep
so if they both score a touchdown, 2 touchdowns in the game, then you win. If you take out that bet, it's
trying to make us money.
So.
Look at you, trying to make us money so we can retire. I like the cut of your jib, pal.
Oh. All right, buddy.
Appreciate it. You have a great one, Tim. Tim calling in the show. We absolutely love it. And making you some scratch, too. Not too shabby. All right, let's go back to the phone lines. We've got Hep here on the show. What's up, Hep?
Hey, Paul. I think this weekend, Aaron Rodgers is going to open it up.
Ooh,
He's going to say, this is it. Enough of this. I'm opening it up. I was embarrassed a little bit last week. You got to pass in order to run in this league now. It's not like it used to be. You have to open up the running lanes. So I think that's the case. But I want your opinion. What do you think the Jets are going to do to adjust to what happened with the big runs against them last time up the middle?
To me, I think we're run blitzing. I think the Jets are going to do this because normally it's an attack style defense, so they just try to get upfield as quickly as possible. And I think that's what happened. Why Saleh was pissed is that they were just going for sacks and trying to get after it for Brock Purdy and shedding their run responsibilities. I think this time Saleh's going to crack the whip and tell everyone, hold your guy up and wait. Because if the Titans know any better, they are going to try to run the ball down the Jets' throat. So I think they're not going to go for sacks early. Like, again, if they're there, they're going to take them. But, I think they're just going to be really gap responsible, and I think they're going to hold up the line. Hold! So Mel Gibson action, and then hopefully, in theory, you get a lead on the Titans. Then all of a sudden, pin the ears back and let's go. But I think you have to – it's almost like we were just talking storms earlier. It's weathering the storm early of preventing the Titans from just running crazy on you. I think that's how they're going to do it. A gap control from the defensive lineman plus run blitzing with Quincy Williams and CJ Mosley to really deter Tennessee from really pounding the Brutus beefcake.
So that's what was going on last week. The people weren't doing their responsibility.
Yeah,
and
I think they
going
were
for the
ditching
sack.
it. I think they were being selfish. I think they were like, "Oh, I'm Jermaine Johnson. I'm Will McDonald. I'm whoever these guys are. Let's go get the sack. Let's make the big play." I'm on Monday Night Football. I think all of that got to their head. Week 1, let's do that. We're a Super Bowl contender. Let's show everybody what it's all about. And I think they got very loose with responsibilities, and the 49ers made them pay. Again, 94 of Jordan Mason's 147 rushing yards were before contact, which means he wasn't even touched. Like, he was just running free through the prairie. And that's to me, that I think that's a Jet lack of responsibility issue there.
So they drank the Kool-Aid a little bit, and they and now
they like the
they're
taste.
They're back down to earth, and now we're going to see the real Jets this week.
That's what I think. Let's get earthy. Let's get earthy. Let's get back to our homeostasis there.
All right, guys, love you. Peace out.
Great question from Happen. Come on, baby, it's time. Play it.
Boy Green Daily, Boy Green Daily, Boy Green Daily. Talking just football, man. Boy Green Daily, Boy Green Daily, Boy Green Daily. The New York Jets Football Club. Wow. Offense, defense, special teams. Watch the Super Bowl season with Boy Green. J-E-T-S. Jets. Boy Green Daily, Boy Green Daily, Boy Green Daily. You're talking Jets football, man. Boy Green Daily, Boy Green Daily, Boy Green Daily. The New York Jets.
One of the best in the business, baby. Shout out to Hep. Let's go back to the phone lines. We've got to go to our family. Uncle Tio joins us here on the show. What's up, Tio?
Hey, good morning, Paul. How's everything? Hep
Excellent.
is so talented, man. Like that,
Yeah.
That's such an awesome song. Shout out to Hep for that. Shout out to the coffee club this morning. Shout out to you, man. Great guest earlier.
Thank you.
Yeah, nice. So the Titans, I think
I saw your 5 points. You had a video out. Well, yeah? You have 5 points on the Tennessee Titans, baby?
Yeah. I wanted to put some points out there, just kind of like shooting from the hip. And I wanted to bring some of that up in our conversation today.
Please do. Yeah.
Hearing the guest and talking about it. One of the things that he talked about was the running game.
Mm-hmm.
And, it's kind of like rinse and repeat, Jordan Mason, he ran all over us, 5.2 yards per carry. Last week, Tony Pollard ran for 5.1 yards per carry. And so the thing that concerns me really about this game is I thought, in my humble opinion, like Kyle Shanahan outcoached Robert Saleh.
Yeah,
I mean,
doubt.
The bottom line, the buck stops at the head coach. I mean, you can say, oh, the offensive coordinator, the defensive coordinator, but the buck stops with the head coach.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Shanahan just, put a game plan together, running schemes together that we just couldn't compete with them.
Mm.
Like I said in my flashpoints, it was literally like the JV versus the varsity, out there. And the thing that concerns me, and one of the points I brought up, is about the coaching. Now, Brian Callahan, he's a relatively new head coach.
Sure.
But we're not talking about him. We are talking about his father, right?
Yes, yeah.
And Bill Callahan, he's touched. I mean, in his I don't know, I think over 30 years of coaching, he's touched different parts of this team, actually. If people don't remember, he was our offensive line coach and assistant head coach the years that Mangold and DeBrick and those winning years, and in the development of that particular offensive line for our championship seasons, right?
Mm-hmm.
He also touched a current player on our offensive line, Tyron Smith. He was the offensive coach for those great, offensive lines of the Dallas Cowboys with Tyron Smith and who some of the other
they've had Travis Frederick, Zach
Frederick,
Martin.
yeah.
I mean, they've had some dudes for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. So he is the one that, like their little Callahan brain trust, so to speak.
Yeah.
He is who I'm worried about in terms of out coaching.
He's given solid problems in the past, man.
Yes. So that, it's a very underrated point. It's in terms of how they're going to scheme against our defensive play. I mean, which, we've been touting all off season, and the numbers have said it, PFF numbers, whatever is your go-to, that we are legit number one defense. But you can't tout that you're a number one defense without stopping the run.
No doubt.
And that is, we on the offensive side, we have to establish the run. On the defensive side, we have to stop the run. And if we don't do that, man, we're looking at down the barrel of a 0-2 start to the.
And the analytics are not good for 0-2 teams making the playoffs. The numbers speak for themselves. It's not good. It's not good. And credit to you, Tio. How often do people say, "Hey, here's a matchup keep an eye out for"? Offensive line coach versus but like, see, you just go to the next level, and I can only respect that. That is deep. That's deep.
I do want to end off my call with something.
Well, actually, before you end off your call,
yeah.
Can you do me a favor, Tio? Is
Sure.
that possible? I need you to help me to count to 5, baby, because Addison, baby, just gifted 5 membership from the room. Shout out to gosh darn Addison, baby, getting the gifting party started here, which we appreciate. Shout out to these 5 individuals: Alexander Brown, Georgie, Benjamin Weinstein, the real Robert Sala. Oh, okay.
Nice.
Welcome to the show. And Isaiah Camp. You are all now Boy Green Coffee Club members. Loyalty badge, emojis, and of course, access to the Discord channel as well. So shout out to Addison for getting the party started during a TO call. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. No, Tio, let's of course get to what you had on your mind as well, please.
Just my last point. I wanted to end it on a positive note.
Ooh, okay.
Aaron Rodgers, he's shaking off the rust. Obviously, he didn't play in the preseason. This is his first game back in, over 18 months.
Right.
There were flashes of time where the laser is back, baby. Like, he had, 3 particular plays. The back shoulder throw to Garrett Wilson down the line of just a laser in that throw. I mean, just amazing. Then where the one on down the sidelines to Lazard, where he threw him open.
Oh, that's ridiculous. Come on, man. That throw was disgusting.
That was Jets porn, if I can say that this morning.
Yeah,
Jets
sure.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then the obvious one, the touchdown on the free play.
Oh yeah.
Where he just hits Lazard down the seam for the touchdown. All of those plays just show this is a preview of what we're going to be seeing from Aaron Rodgers. And I mean, if you're not psyched about that, you're just not a Jets fan, man, because I just feel like in my heart of hearts that we got to give the man some more time. We got to give him more than 12 minutes time of possession, because we had 20, but 8 of those minutes was, Tyrod Taylor garbage time,
Exactly. Right.
So we need to give him some more time. And with that time, it will translate into those kind of plays and getting comfortable in the offense, not just for him, but because he's a force multiplier, everyone is going to be affected, is going to, really give us some positive vibes going into this game and hopefully into the season. And that's why I say I'm very positive about that. So
yeah, because again, I love the term force multiplier to really account for what he could do, because it was a force divider. If that's the proper math, again, I messed up a lot of math earlier.
The core math, that's out there
Yeah.
with the kids these days.
Oh God, that's what I'm afraid of. They're like, hey, raising kids. I'm like, yeah, I don't care anything about that. It's the core math. When they're like, Dad, I'm like, oh boy. Get that thing away from me. And also my math with membership counting. But thank you to Addison. We're now down to 19 members away for old Terrence. Appreciate that as he continues to push his little toes through the sands of Cabo, which is brilliant. But no, in all seriousness, though, Aaron Rodgers, he said it too, and we're all saying it. Like, what the flashes I saw are like the greatest quarterback play I've ever seen in my life. And to know that it's only going up, it's only getting better. He's only going to get more comfortable. Go, oh, this Achilles feels just fine. Zoo, 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 all over the football field. That to me should be an exciting thing for Jets fans. That more is just going to be unlocked on a week-to-week basis. Which, to your point, the force multiply for everybody else. And you saw it. There was a couple of tight camera shots during the Monday Night Football game where Aaron Rodgers is in the huddle and he's pointing to people and he's going kerfluffle 44, and I just see Garrett going, yeah. And I'm like, yeah. How can you not? It's freaking Aaron Rodgers in the huddle.
My heart.
Oh,
my
it was.
goodness. It just feels so
I'm just
good.
so fired up, man. I'm just because we're gonna see it. Like, because I was somehow it came up. Wherever the hell BMAC is, Hunger Games. Wherever the hell he is right now. When I randomly ran into an Aaron Rodgers highlight where he just threw 3 touchdown passes in the first quarter, I don't know if over a string of multiple games I've seen quarterbacks with the Jets throw 3 touchdown passes combined. So for Rodgers to do that in a random first quarter, I'm like, I can't wait for those moments where I'm just freaking out going, this is real life. That's what I'm
real life. Actually, that was just an appetizer on Monday night. We're headed for the main course for the rest of the season. So
tasty.
Absolutely. Paul, thank you so much. Great content as always. Always love your show. A salute to the coffee club out there. You guys have a great day. And I'll just end it off with JETS. Jets, baby. Let's go. Let's go.
Yeah, great. Uncle Tio, baby. And to 411 on New York Sports is tomorrow evening. We got Thursday Night Football tonight, but hey, we've got Uncle Tio to 411 on New York Sports tomorrow night. Thank you to the 700 people in the room right now, baby. Make sure you guys like the video, hit subscribe. Well, also, if you didn't get enough Titans insight on this episode of Boy Green Daily, I want to make sure, because obviously with Third Party Thursday, Boy Green Meets Woody, my show every Thursday at 3 o'clock, we'll have an insider from the other team. It won't be the case next week. We're actually a week away from me being at the Jets home opener with Woody, so there will be no 3 o'clock show a week from today on that Thursday, because I will be hopefully at that point, I will already be at MetLife Stadium tailgating and getting ready for it. So there will be no Third Party Thursday next week. I believe we'll have a Third Party Tuesday adjustment coming up on Tuesday. But we're also going to, I just had the Titans Insider on the show now, so shout out to Easton Freeze. We're going to have my buddy Mike Herndon, who's been covering the Tennessee Titans for a very long time. He joins at 3 o'clock today to give you even more Titans insight. That'll be with James Woody, a back and forth interview coming up at 3 o'clock. I can't friggin' wait for that. That is going to be exceptional. All right, a new member joins the ranks. Shout out to the 411 on New York Sports. Uncle Tio. Boom shakalaka. Okay, Joe Rano, you are now a member of the Boy Green Coffee Club, a card-carrying member, baby, which we appreciate. Shout out to Uncle Tio for that, and shout out to Joe Rano, who continues to be, who now is a member, which means I got to adjust our little emoji countdown here. We're down to 18. Okay, baby. We're getting closer and closer for Terrence. I wonder if we will even get this before Terrence is even back over with us here. From Cabo. We'll see. We're now 18 members away from the next emoji being unlocked. And for the new people who might show, you might be like, what emoji being unlocked? What does that even mean? Well, some of our callers, our historic callers, have been immortalized in emoji form, like FL Phil 98, Philium, as this beautiful emoji. My mother, Imamji, as we like to pronounce it here. Hep and his beautiful guitar and songs, Ricky New York, Easy OC, Uncle Tio, who just joined us on the show, a beautiful butterfly, or Bubba Badshaw, baby. He'll be at the Jets-Titans game. I saw someone asking that earlier. Is anyone going to be there? Badshaw is going to be there, one of our loyal callers and listeners to the show. Got Jared B., our moderator here, our wow emoji from my daughter, Zariah Luna. my beautiful daughter, which again, we normally reserve this for Super Chat, but I do like playing it.
Wow.
Yeah, wow, baby. That's on there. And then, of course, the BMAC over emoji, which, who doesn't love that? So, anywho, and we have so many more emojis than that, but you are unlocked to get to use all that and, quite frankly, become a part of the community and just help support the channel if you dig the content. I'm live every single day at 7:30 in the morning, baby. It's terrific. I love being on. I love this show. And we're on some days, multiple days a week, Tuesdays and Thursdays. That is at 3 o'clock. For Boy Green Meets Woody's, and Fridays with Jake Asman, which is a lot of fun too. Plus 2 hours after every final whistle will be on. So obviously with a 1 o'clock kick on Sunday against the Titans, our post-game show should start in the 6-7 range. We'll see because of post-game stuff, but it should be in the 6-6:30 range, somewhere in that ballpark for our post-game show. A more reasonable time instead of 1 or 2 in the morning for some of those that pay attention otherwise. All right, before we sign off the show, let's get to a few more callers if we can. Also, King Lowski, we see you, baby. Royalty over there, we love it. Let's give old King a JTS. We love you, King. A good member here of the Boy Green Coffee Club, baby. King Lowski, one of the best in the business. All right, let's jump on over to the phone lines. Got a couple of calls here. Let's go to my brother from another mother first. Big Green here on the show. Big Green?
Oh, hey, how you doing?
Hey, what's up, man?
Let's see. Yes, sorry, I was drama. Oh, nothing much. Thinking, we're not about to buy Bill Callahan's brake pads, so I don't know. Titans are getting overly confident.
I love that. Hey, Tommy Boy's my favorite movie of all time, baby. Yes, let's Tommy Callahan, Bill Callahan, all Callahans. Yes, let's get those brake pads and beat his ass with them.
I can't hear.
Sorry, Big Green. You're breaking up there, buddy. Yep, and there he goes. His call dropped. But we appreciate you, Big Green. Thanks for tuning into the show. We appreciate you. All right, I don't know if we're going to be able to see this individual, but maybe we can hear him. Let's go to KO. KO, can you hear me?
Wait, more words. I'm like, what the fuck? See the fucking city weights, bro?
Oh, yikes. All right, there's a lot of swearing going on back there. I don't know if he knows that he's called into the show. That happened. Remember BMAC yesterday? We were trying to reach out to him for like 3 minutes, and he was on air. So probably leave that on the side. Maybe KO's just calling in to listen to the show. We should probably avoid that. That would be great. So appreciate it. But I'll just tell you real quick a couple of nuggets here, and then we'll wrap up the show. It sounded like it. Modine KO was in the middle of a brawl. Yeah, I just heard a lot of "fuck you, motherfuck." I was like, whoa, 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 whoa. To avoid that. I don't have the Jake Asman. We apologize for the language that was used on this program. Yeah, I don't have one of those. Maybe in due time. That could be it as well. But for Jets Titans, here's the truth. I appreciate Easton coming on the show. I'm going to appreciate Mike Herndon coming on the show later because I bring on these insiders. So first off, we all learn more information about who the hell the Jets are playing, and hopefully we can get smarter about our opponent. We'll have Taylor Kyles on next week. I love Taylor of from the New England Patriots. I don't love much about the New England Patriots, but I do love my boy Taylor Kyles out there in New England. So it'll be great to have him on the show next week to preview on that short week. But this Titans game seems like an opportunity, a get-right game for the New York Jets. Now, I don't know if they're blowing out the Titans 44-3. That would be great if Will Levis all of a sudden starts panicking around and throwing interceptions all over the place. There's a lot of talent on this team. Brian Callahan, a first-year head coach for Tennessee, is an offensive mastermind. Will Levis had games last year where he threw 4 touchdown passes. Okay. He's a very confident young man that does weird things with mayo in his coffee and other weird foodie things. He eats a banana with the peel on. I heard about all that in the pre-draft process. Disgusting. On all fronts, but that's neither here nor there. They've got talent. Tony Pollard, I'll just give you some of my observations, man. Tony Pollard looked pretty damn good week 1 coming out, and he's got a running mate in Tyjae Spears. They don't have Derrick Henry anymore, so that's a big difference. They got a lot of talented receivers. Calvin Ridley's a freak. You got DeAndre Hopkins, you got Tyler Boyd. Now, Hopkins, I don't know the health. He only had 1 catch last week for 8 yards. I think it might be a while before we see full DeAndre Hopkins, which, again, can work out for the Jets' perspective. can work out from the Jets' perspective of playing a team at the right time. So that part would be great. And you're right, Modine, on that. I will say a blowout would, of course, calm down the masses. So to beat the brakes off the Titans team, if you go back to that 2008 Brett Favre year, they beat the bricks off of teams. I remember, I think it was the St. Louis Rams at the time. They beat 44-3. Like a couple of those would be like, oh, okay. It was just the 49ers. Like that's what I think would ease a lot of the nerves. We'll see truly if something like that does occur. But the Titans team, the quarterback is talented, but he's young and he can make mistakes. The wide receiver core is really good, but DeAndre Hopkins, I don't think is full health. But you do have Calvin Ridley to worry about, and then you got Tyler Boyd as well. The running game's kind of interesting. Bill Callahan, someone said it earlier. Yo Holmes said Bill Callahan is another coach better than Sal. He is, and I don't know if that's really an insult to Sal because Bill Callahan is one of the best offensive line coaches of all time. So shout out to him. And he got some talented defenders. Again, freaking Jeffrey Simmons is a freak. Harold Landry was really good prior to the injury. We'll see. And L'Jarius Sneed is a top flight corner. So I'm looking forward to the challenge, but I think the Jets are going to get the win. And we'll see if that is indeed the case. Let's go back to the phone lines here. I don't know if there's any swearing happening at this house after that last call, but Johnny Boy here on the show.
No, there's not.
Okay, that's good to know. There's children there, for God's sake. So that's good. Yeah. The children.
But on Sundays, I can't help that. So, because not only are we swearing, my wife's swearing. It just happens, man.
Which is good because I will be honest. It was during the Jets 49ers game, and it's a primetime game, so my daughter was not up for the full thing, but she saw me getting up, like clapping and getting all over the place. And like before the game, I'm pacing around like, oh my God, Aaron Rodgers. And she was pacing around with me, and she was just going, cuckoo gaga, sibba wabba. And she was clapping and getting into it like I was. So that's a proud parent moment. You're like, yes, you're coming down with the disease now for all Jets. It's great to see.
Hey, so BG, so this is for the coffee club.
Okay.
It's for everybody, and then this is for our favorite heel, the heel of the coffee club, Mr. Allen.
Yes. Yeah.
You're winning 21-9. Just putting that out there.
Ooh, that was my prediction for last week for Jets 49ers, so I like it. Let's give that a copy and paste for Titans week. I love it. Yeah.
21-9, man. Look, I don't believe in Will Levis. Our secondary people acting like they're not good. You know, they're not going to let a second game like this happen. I mean, you guys remember last year what happened after the Cowboys game, and look how we came back and responded. Mm-hmm. You know, it's not happening. I understand the whole, Callahan motors and whatnot. You know, them brakes are coming apart, baby, and we're going to run through it. So I say that to say this, BG, you're the man. Keep doing your stuff, man. Look forward to it. I think your dad is still punching the air from yesterday's conversation.
He is. Yeah.
Back. So, hey, Jets, brother. Jets, and I appreciate you.
Thanks for calling in, Johnny Boy. Yeah, and the 411 on New York Sports again, guys. Make sure you guys check that out for that. Mahar Khalil. Yes, are we still tailgating for the home game, Week 3 Jets-Patriots? We absolutely are. Let me see. I just was texting Nick Shine. I can hopefully give you guys the details. 1 second here. All right. Let me make sure. I text a lot of people apparently. Okay. The tailgate is our tailgate is in E the letter like Esden E. What egg? E is an egg. Okay, there you go. That's it. And we'll be dishing out for anyone who bought tickets or parking passes or any of that through us. That will be distributed coming up this weekend / on Monday. So be around your phones for that. Whatever email you provided, you guys will be getting those tickets for that. So shout out. And yes, we'll be tailgating in lot E. E as an egg. So hopefully I see a lot of you guys there. I'm hoping to meet a lot of you guys. And like I said, if this is a success, hanging out with you guys, it's a good time. It all works out. We're obviously working with Tailgate Joe to provide the food, drink, and all that jazz. If this is a great success, I'd love to do a lot more of these. So guys, it's up to you. Mahar Khalil, any tickets available for the tailgate? Yes. They no longer go through us though. So you have to go to tailgatejoe.com. Go to tailgatejoe.com and you can reserve, a tailgate ticket. Through us, it was like $65, so I assume it's going to be the same price. I don't know what price could have changed. So it was $65 for the tailgate. I think that's all you could eat and all you could drink for like 4 hours before the game. So, yes, go to tailgatejoe.com, and you should be on the right website. I mean, I'll type it in right now for you to show you. Tailgatejoe.com, all right? Let me present this on the screen real quick so you guys can make sure you're at the right place. All right, there we go. New York Jets Tailgate Party Fan Club. Here you go. This is the website, tailgatejoe.com, and you can see how to, lock in your ticket for Week 3 Jets-Patriots. Look, it's right here. Tailgate Parties. You can click right here on the website. We're doing this all live together. Right. So tailgate party, and then you just find it. Yeah. Choose an option. Let's see. Advanced registration, VIP 10. It looks like it's slightly more expensive on the website. It looks like it's $70. To us was $65, but that date has since passed. So it looks like it's like $70 to do it. And there you go. We're located in Platinum. Our new location, Tailgate Joe's, is Area E26. So there you go, from a specific nature for that. So, yes, tickets are available. You just got to go straight through Joe now. As Nick Shine said, we're done collecting. We already collected the money for the tickets and for the tailgate and parking passes for any of those. So, yeah, feel free. I'd love to meet you guys. So feel free to swing by. I think the full tailgate is like 4 hours. I don't know if I'll be there for the full 4 hours, but I'll be driving in and being around the neighborhood because I'll be there with Woody and everybody else who's going to be showing up. So, yeah, let's hang out. Let's have a good time. Let's take some pictures. Let's do whatever the heck, talk Jets, whatever you guys want to, and get ready for that awesome Week 3 Jets-Patriots home opener, which would be a lot of fun. So, yeah, guys, feel free. Again, tailgatejoe.com. Shout out to Tailgate Joe for that, which I appreciate. Good Lord, man. Alan is on his case. Every day I look in the comments. A loyal member of the Boy Green Coffee Club, but who immediately when he was gifted a membership, he said, I'd like to revoke my membership. Like, what a jerk. But he always gets a comment stirred up. But I don't think Alan angers a lot of people. He angers a lot of people. But I don't think there's anyone he angers more on the planet than the legend. One of the greatest callers to Jets content creator shows in the universe. It is time. I need a royal trumpet the next time that this guy calls in, because he is the one and only. He is the true king of the North. He's the true king of Jet fans. And it is King Lowski gracing us with his presence. King.
Jay, Paul Boy Green, my brother. Paul Boy Green, my brother. It's always good to see you, my brother. Hey, let me say this, man. I'm glad all of the noise is kind of dying down right now. Okay, it's Thursday. We got some more football to be watched. Okay, we got division opponents to study and make sure that we are prepared for these bums coming up. Okay, but let me just say this, man.
Please do.
I love your channel, Paul.
Thank you.
I love everything you're doing, man. You know, we still got to get our games in on Madden.
Oh, that's true.
But,
yeah, we haven't played in a while. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. It's been a while. But let me say this, man.
Yes, sir.
To the chat, and I don't address loser bums in your chat any longer, man, because you got necessary evils in here. And I respect that because they're needed. Okay, we need those type of fraud fans to set us straight and separate us from the real Jet fans. Okay,
that's a good point.
You know what I'm saying? We don't really deal with flip floppers. You know what I'm saying? We don't deal with wannabe Charger fans one week, then he glazing over another team this week. We don't deal with those type of fans. You understand what I'm saying? So I no longer address bums like that. But let me say this, man. Tennessee is coming up. Jeffrey Simmons and that defensive line is for real. Okay? I've always given respect to that defensive line because one thing about it, they can stop the run and they can make their secondary look good at times. You know what I'm saying? So our focus should be stopping Tony Pollard and making sure, hey, get Garrett involved more. I want to see more. I want to see that connection. that drive that he hit Garrett 4 times in a, I'm saying, bro, who can stop this? Who can really stop Garrett? Okay. Now, at the end of the day, Brees, he got it. The running back position is a rhythm position. You have to get running backs reps, okay, to actually hit that hole. We have to create holes for them. We were second in pass blocking last week. Yeah. Okay, that's good. That's good. That shows we can keep up the old man. Okay, and he can do some amazing things for us when we keep him up. So Tennessee is coming up. I'm on to the next week. I'm not thinking about San Francisco. I'm not thinking about the overreactions. I'm not thinking about none of that. I'm focused on Tennessee. I will see y'all fellas in Tennessee. Okay. I'm so ready to see all you coffee club fans, all you ass maniacs. I can't wait to see pure Jet fans in there because I know we're gonna show up and show out, baby. Okay. So hey, let's do it, baby. JTS! Yes! JTS! Yes!
There he is, King Lowski. The king has spoken. And what better way to end the show, baby? Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. I appreciate the 800 people in the room. Make sure you guys like the video, hit subscribe, spread the good gospel of Boy Green Daily and King Lowski, for that matter. We appreciate you. We'll be back on at 3 o'clock today. So if you didn't get enough of a Jets Titans preview, we'll do it with a different Titans insider, a guy I've known for a long time, Mike Herndon, who's been around the team for a long time, and he'll give us even more insight than ever, which we truly appreciate. Thanks, everybody, for joining in. God bless, and we'll see you at 3 o'clock. Take care, everybody.